So non-Gruden takeaways from the first week at camp. Dan, what are your thoughts from the early returns? Granted, it's very early.
Well, I think we talked about, things that are significant. And like to me, the most significant thing is that no one's gotten hurt, and it's trivial and something you could say, every year for a team where no one gets hurt. But
except for NFL editor Keith McMillan.
Yeah, all right.
Get better, Keith. Sorry.
Man down there.
Do people know what happened?
Go ahead if you want to.
We should just say that there is an actual game that the team puts on, and they dress you up in all kinds of outfits, and they open up the practice bubble or wherever the heck they do it at now, and they let you play a scrimmage game. And Keith McMillan, our editor for the team, actually tore his Achilles.
Right. So he's on the DL for us. So
does anybody care?
That was like
so far
1,000th on the list of most significant.
Yeah, you're right.
But in line with the show, what the hell? All right, Dan, go ahead. Continue your thought.
We have seen the Redskins take some shots in training camp over the years, and when you lose a guy on the first day or the first week, it can definitely take a little steam out of your sails. I think the fact that nothing bad has happened is probably the best.
And yesterday was a physical practice, and that with all the pads. What do you think, Scott?
I'd say, there have been a lot sexier things that have happened in terms of bringing in Deshaun and how they're going to keep all the receivers happy with Deshaun, Pierre, and Andre. But I think, RG3 was talking about this with Deion Sanders when he was there. How he's going to keep him happy is to get protection, for one. And so to me, kind of, it goes back to the injuries thing. There haven't been injuries along the retooled offensive line, but with Corey Lichtensteiger moving to center, that kind of concerning the first couple of days there when you read that there were some stumbles in the exchange, but then the last couple of days, I guess, he's looked better, and you kind of expect that to get better as it goes on. So for me, maybe not surprising, but one of the things that I'm kind of interested to see is how that offensive line gels and whether they are able to give protection this year.
I just feel like, and I'm stealing from my column possibly tomorrow when I go down there, this is camp boring. And camp boring is good for this team after what happened last year. And the biggest controversy thus far is almost Bruce Allen mentioning basically that RG3 should not have been out there, which I have no idea why the general manager, trying to deflect any controversy for his incoming coach, who doesn't need to be compared to anybody, why he would even bring up Mike Shanahan in that way. I think it's dumb.
Well, he didn't bring up Shanahan.
That was a very thinly veiled.
Disrespectful to the game of football. I agree, but there's a lot of radio interviews. There's a lot of words that are being said.
I don't think. It's a stream of conscious thing. Yeah. But I still think that if you're Bruce Allen, just shut up.
So what do you think he meant by that?
I think he gave himself a little cover because he basically made it clear this was Mike Shanahan's decision. I, as the general manager in name, did not have any say over this, or I would have sat him, which he could have just come out and said. And I think he also gives and maybe builds a little bond with RG3, don't you think? And say, look, this guy probably shouldn't have been playing last year. That's why he started so poorly.
Yeah, I think I saw it more as providing cover to Griffin and how he performed last year. Big Al, who did that interview in Richmond, he asked him the natural follow-up after he says the disrespectful bit. He says, well, should he have been held out for the first 4 or 5 games? And maybe Bruce Allen, realizing at this point that he's probably said something that he shouldn't, doesn't come flat out and say, yes, he should have been. He gives some answer about how that's part of Robert's development process. And in the long run, I think it will be better for him that he went through those growing pains. So he kind of backtracked a little bit.
Well, we also don't know. Let's be honest. He could have been taking a shot at Adidas in the campaign there.
Yeah, but
all in for.
Would you agree with that analysis, Dan, of what his intention in saying that?
I don't really disagree, and this is what I do for a living. But I also feel like the way we parse through radio interviews in this town about the Redskins is like nothing else lately.
It's your fault. You transcribe it.
You're right. You're totally right. It is my fault. But like when we actually talk about it out loud, it makes it seem silly.
Where do you think I read
Can I say
that?
one other significant thing? I think, and this probably goes without saying for a lot of people. I was down there for 2 days. I watched some practice and I watched some fans, but the Sean Jackson speed thing it's insane. You see the way he runs past defensive backs, and obviously, they're not playing in pads all the time. They're not playing in game conditions, but man, he's fast. And, you know, it's not like Aldrick Robinson fast where he's just going to run and then the ball is going to clank off some various part of his body. Like, he is a professional superstar wide receiver of the kind that we haven't really seen that much around here
Get the
lately.
ball in his hands and just let him run.